Good morning everybody, this is your Wednesday the 10th of February guided reading and we're doing the answers today. So on Monday you looked at the whole text of the 1,000-year-old boy. Yesterday you should have looked at the questions that were on the PDF on Dojo. If you have not done that yet, just have some time this morning to go through and make some answers ready for them to be marked during this slide. So we'll start with question 1, which was, why do you think Aiden mixes up the words genealogy and genealogy? Which is a pretty simple mistake to make. So my number one answer is that I think Aiden mixes up the words because they sound similar and he's never heard of the term genealogy before. I know that he doesn't really understand what's going on because loads of times in the text it said that he thought he didn't really realise what Roxy was doing. So obviously he's never heard this word before, so he's just broke that word down to find gene and allergy, and he's just chosen those two separate words. So overall, to get that 1 mark, you can just say that he speaks similarly because the words sound similar and he's never heard it before. Number 2 is, what is the occupation of Alfie's mother and how has it changed throughout the years? So I can find this on page 3 of the extract. So Alfie's mother has had a similar job throughout all of the census, and it says that she makes clothes. So her job title has changed throughout the years from a seamstress to a dressmaker and then a costumer. So you need to tell me that her job has remained the same, but she's had 3 job titles. And what does the word exasperation mean? I just need a synonym. It means that she said it impatiently or frustration with anger. So you can tell me any of those words because she's getting frustrated that Aiden does not understand her findings on the census. So what does the word mean? It means that she's getting quite annoyed, impatient and frustrated. You could use any of those words. She's not even properly authorised to see some of the sites. So if you ask, you know, so what is Roxy asking Aiden in this statement? So I've said Roxy's asking Aiden to keep it a secret because she realises that she's not allowed in her mum's database and she doesn't have the authority to be there, so she knows she shouldn't be there. So she's asking Aiden, and she's implying to Aiden that if anything goes wrong or if anybody asks what they're doing, for him to be quiet, for him to keep it a secret so that they don't get themselves into trouble. So something along those lines that I've written for my question number 4. Number 5 is, what is special about the picture in the 1870 and why do Aiden and Roxy find it unusual? So the picture is special, not because it's blurry, but because they found it odd that the people looked familiar, because they still keep on seeing Alfie and his mum in all these pictures. So that's why it's special, but the reason why it's unusual, and if you look for that keyword unusual in the text, you will also find that they find it unusual that they're wearing sunglasses, okay? And you could have told me those 2 specific things, that they find it odd that the people are in there that look familiar and that they're also wearing sunglasses. You could also add that it tells you in the text that sunglasses were only used for medical reasons, so that's why it's a bit unusual for those people in the picture to be wearing sunglasses. So number 6, tick the statements. We've got false, false, true, false. So they found it easy. No, they did not. They said it was grainy. Roxy's allowed to be looking at the files. No, she's not. That's why she asked Aiden to keep it a secret. Roxy was eager to do research. Yes, she was, because she's really excited to tell Aiden all about it. And then sunglasses were popular. No, they were not. They were only used for medical purposes. So number 7, what resources Aiden and Roxy using to research Alfie and his mother? So that's the first little section. And what do they find that makes it suspicious? So the first thing that they're using is an online census, which is a database to find information from the past. And they find it suspicious because him and his mum turn up on this census 3 times over the last century or so. So they're finding it suspicious that they keep repeating themselves, but their age, their name and their occupation, nothing is changing. Okay, so that's why they're finding things suspicious. They're a bit odd. So you can use mine. Make sure you've got those 2 marks for those 2 little questions. 8. She hadn't said a word for about 3 minutes and I was left feeling a bit awkward, like reading over someone's shoulder, except the book was in a foreign language. So write this, what Aiden means in this statement. So I think Aiden feels a little bit excluded and left out, and he doesn't know what Roxy is doing because he's saying he feels a bit awkward. He's never been in this situation before. Roxy's really caught up in the research and she doesn't think to give him any of the information. And when he does try and look, he doesn't really understand what's on the screen. And I'm not sure whether that's because it's all fancy words that he doesn't really know, like genealogy, or like it said in the text that it's from an old time ago, that it wasn't in the internet, it was all done in fancy curly handwriting. So maybe he just can't understand the handwriting, like on the image that I gave you on Monday. So there's a varies of reasons that you could have wrote. I've wrote a couple of them down at the bottom of my question 8. So for the 2 marks, you could have just told me that he's feeling awkward because he doesn't really know what's going on and he's feeling left out, and also because he thinks it's a foreign language because he doesn't understand any of the words. Okay, so I've gone through all the slides and all the questions. I know I've done it quite quickly, but you can go back through any of the video to make sure that you've got all the questions and all the answers that you need. If you got any of them wrong, please rewrite them out to ensure that you've corrected your answers, and then send us your score. It's out of 13, and we are aiming for above 10 like we would do in class. It's those 2 mark questions that are really tripping some people up, that we're not giving enough detail. If it's 2 marks, it's definitely going to be at least 2 sentences, so we need to make sure we're getting all the detail in and not rushing through these answers. Okay, thank you.